life from the long arm of the law. Lawman has put an end to my running, and I'm so far from my home. Oh, mama, I can hear you crying. You're so scared and all alone. Hangman is coming down from the gallows, and I don't have very long. Yeah! The chickens and music out, they're finally found it. You renegade to hide it, babe, retreat for a melody. Never gonna go astray. It's the beauty and the dead who won't lie. And with that, we say, rest in peace, John McAfee. I will read our quote for our listening audience who can't see this video. From Lysander Spooner: so these villains who call themselves governments well understand that their power rests primarily upon money. With money, they can hire soldiers, and with soldiers, extort money. And when their authority is denied, the first use they always make of money is to hire soldiers to kill or subdue all who refuse them more money. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Aquarian Anarchy. I am Chad. You see Marcus and Nico. We are trying to secure, there he is. He is coming down onto the screen below. Our good friend, Mr. Adam Kokesh, who is joining us from Gardenia, his property over in Arizona. We're going to get into Adam's relationship with John McAfee in a bit, but we lost a real legend. We lost a true renegade, a true fighter for freedom today. And I know there are a lot of different thoughts going around about this, but Marcus, you tell me what you think, but I'm certain that he was murdered.
Absolutely. While Adam's getting some signal, I had the opportunity while working for the campaign to get to know Janice a bit, and I got to know John a little bit, and could not have, especially Janice was just an amazing human being, and to think that it just infuriates me that people are trying to say that John McAfee killed himself. That is bullshit. It is absolute bullshit. It pisses me off. And one of the things that I said recently in a tweet is that we have to remember that our enemy is capable of murder. That they are that's in their tool shed. That is what they do. We have to defeat them with love, compassion, and those kinds of ideas. But make no doubt about it, that there will be likely more casualties as the state starts clamping down, because they are clamping down. And I think Adam is a good example. I mean, he got visited by the FBI recently,
right.
And for doing nothing. There's no one in the world that believes that Adam was a Trump supporter. No one in the world believes that.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. They came onto his property to find out if he was the person that was pictured in some picture of people that were wearing Trump gear at the Capitol on January 6th. It's like, are you out of your mind? Like, Adam was constantly on Trump's ass, running against him as a libertarian, with John McAfee as his running mate. And I hope Adam's having some difficulty getting in on the stream, but hopefully he will be able to join us here as soon as possible. But in the meantime, I don't know. Let's send one up for John McAfee, because this is a sad day. It's and he's not the first either. Let's be real. He's not the first. I don't know if people remember.
Yeah, no, he's not even the only today. But I don't know if people remember Erwin Schiff back, was that 3 or 4 years ago, died in prison on I think it was like a 14-year sentence. He was like 10 years into it, died of cancer when he was in there. And his crime was he was helping people avoid paying taxes because he believed that that taxation is theft and that it was unconstitutional. Never mind about the Constitution and all that stuff, but he was actually out there doing the Lord's work, trying to help people not pay for this monstrosity that murders people all over the world, and instead they just put him in there to rot and die. I think he was 77 when he died. What do you think, Nico?
It's hilarious, or not hilarious, but ironically, hilarious how we haven't. Not we. Let me take that statement back. America has yet to really wake up. We've had this incident where he's murdered for tax evasion. We've noticed we shouldn't be paying for shit. That's one. Two, Edward Snowden's a big one where he was like, hey, y'all are getting watched at everything you ran away. They made movies. They made a whole bunch of podcasts and things of that nature with him. And America has yet to realize this, we're still funneling and fueling our biggest enemy that people complain about, that people cry about. And it's just going to have to get to that point where it's we just leave those behind because there's no point in waking them up at this point. The attempts, it's I was at work one day and I was extremely mad because I realized I can't save everybody. But when you realize you can't save everybody, you move forward to another mission and you try your best to save everybody, but you keep moving forward. And as we've seen, every time we move forward or something's been announced, people just for example, Twitter was just running McAfee's name through the mud. And I'm like, did you guys not read anything that this man did? So that's just it's just disappointing at this point. It's massively disappointing.
Yeah, and so if you go back and look at some of the things that have been said about him, that have been done with him, and there are some people who still think it's kind of he's almost like a Elvis at this point, where there are some people who think because of all the body doubles and those different things that there's a chance that maybe this really didn't happen. But I think that the timing is too suspect for it to not be what we are saying happened.
Right.
He gets extradited. As soon as the U.S. gets access to him, all of a sudden he turns up dead. I don't think that was a body double pretending for that to happen. I don't know, it's possible, I guess. If you think about it, if that's the writing on the wall, But I seriously doubt it. I don't think that, and I don't even think that if you look at his MO would not be kill the body double,
right,
and leave a warm body behind for them to find while he escapes. That's not
right. And the thing is, John McAfee is certainly capable of trolling a motherfucker. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. This dude pretended to be arrested at one point just to troll people. I mean, that is a fact. He because John was funny. And
no, he was very funny.
But at the end of the day, beyond the fact that they murdered him today, take that away, put that aside. He should not have been in a Spanish prison for tax evasion in the United States anyway. That should have never happened. Taxation is theft.
Should have been in prison, period. Yeah. But that's why the quote you chose was so perfect for today. For everybody who doesn't know, this was not the topic we had planned for tonight.
Hell no.
We knew it was just going to be the three of us, and then this happened, and so I was like, Marcus, make a new thumbnail. Marcus, we need a new quote. And Marcus came through in the clutch, and then we hit up Adam, and we're still trying to get him. I don't know. Have you heard anything? Is he?
I haven't heard anything from him yet.
Okay. All right. Well, he's tried to get in a couple of times, but he's having trouble. You could see whenever he was up there, it was just like a spinning wheel of death and a black screen. But no, this is we were supposed to be talking about your anniversary. We were supposed to be talking about family.
Right.
We're supposed to be talking about
my past weekend, which was
this
amazing.
weekend with family and Father's Day and Nico's birthday and everything. But this kind of brought it all back into like this really interesting focus for me anyway, that we're supposed to be celebrating your anniversary, and Janice McAfee does not get to celebrate an anniversary again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that, and Nico's birthday. Well, he doesn't get to celebrate another birthday again.
Well, we do get to do that.
No, I'm saying John McAfee doesn't.
Yeah, true.
John McAfee doesn't get to celebrate another birthday again. That's what I'm saying. Like these are the things that it's very precious, and we need to, from the standpoint of like the spirituality that we were going to talk about for this episode before this happened today. It kind of reset that stuff and brought it into that type of perspective for me, that this is why it's so important to, I tweeted this out last week, celebrate every victory because nothing is guaranteed. Celebrate every birthday, celebrate every anniversary, do it up because the next one's not guaranteed. None of this stuff is guaranteed. You're not guaranteed another day with your family. You're not guaranteed to see the sun another day. So respect it, value it, cherish it, and don't waste it. One of my pinned tweet is time ill spent is lost forever. And I know like we can fuck around sometimes and goof off and all that stuff. And there, to a certain extent, there's some recreation that the human person needs to kind of disconnect and not be under stress all the time. But it's not good to have idle bullshit time where there's no purpose whatsoever. And you're just spinning your wheels, wasting your life away. That's the thing. Cause I went through a period of time where I was doing that. I was still traveling like I do. And I would spend my time when I got to the hotel, watching binging TV series on, Hulu or whatever the hell, Netflix or whatever. And drinking too much, probably. I never got drunk or anything like that, but it's like, it was kind of a therapeutic thing for now. So now I have this thing's full of water, and that's all I do. Because it's just we have to be careful that we don't waste the time and the relationships that we have, because we don't know how long we're going to have them.
Absolutely. One of my mantras recently has been, because, everybody struggles. We all have problems. John had problems. I have problems. These two wonderful people who come on here every week with me, they have problems. Adam has problems. Everybody has issues, whether it's issues from the past or the future that hasn't been written yet that might suck. There are things coming that might suck. My mantra has been, all of that aside, today's pretty goddamn cool. Ultimately, when you look at the moment, when you look at where you're at right now, that's the important shit. That's, whether it's spending time with your family or, hanging out with good friends, whatever that is, we should embrace that time, because we do not know what is going on, especially right now. Right. My message is hopeful, and I think that we are going to look for the beauties that are coming. But if this murder does not send up red flags to people, if they don't at least question a little bit, right, you have to understand at any moment. I've been involved in the freedom movement now for years, and I have. It's sad that I joke about Felicia. It's sad that I that I joke that at any moment the government could break into my goddamn house. I am a peaceful person, and so was John. And he wasn't perfect. The dude right. had his issues, like everybody else. And what he was that should be an inspiration is he was fucking free. That dude was free.
Yeah, I think about it sometimes, and I find myself somewhere between what's his name? Benjamin Martin, the character in The Patriot. where he's like, I'm a father. I don't have the luxury of principles. I find myself sometimes somewhere between there and like that renegade spirit of John McAfee, where I just want to be like, fuck it, let it burn down. You know, like
Right.
I'm leaving all you motherfuckers. I'm going into the woods and I'm going to build a little hut and y'all can fucking, you know, burn each other down in the streets. I don't care anymore. I'm going to go do my own thing. So somewhere between those, the one part of me is like, I'm okay. I would be okay with being Irwin Schiff and helping people, you know, evade their taxes and everything. And if I end up in federal prison and die there, fine, except not right now, because I've got these kids to take care of. I've got kids to get out of the house first. And when they're all old enough, and then it's just me and my wife, then me and my wife are going to probably have a sit down talk where we're going to be like, hey, look, all right, so here's the deal. How far are we willing to go to risk ending up, you know, because the reality of the matter is we can want anarchy as much as we do, but John McAfee was a true to the bone anarch,
for sure.
You know, and he was, as best as he could, living in anarchy, except that the rest of the world isn't living in anarchy, and they got him.
Yeah.
So you know that's the reality that we live in, and we have to recognize that and you know act accordingly. As Khalid Muhammad said, you know, you're behind enemy lines, and so in a certain way you have to play the part so that you can live to find that opening to where you can escape and get out from behind enemy lines.
This would also shine light on how the U.S. ties, like Marcus said, like you said earlier, it's all in Spain. Like, so it shows that like not that many places are safe if you really want to try and run. And being free, look at what Adam had to go through.
Right.
And he's still pestered on the daily.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
So it's like living free is so crazy. There's only like a few places that live free, and those are like tribes that have not been bothered with. Those are probably the freest people on this planet.
Right.
And to whatever extent that is.
Sure. And one of the good news things that I was going to talk about tonight is that we this weekend, my family started putting together and Chad, you can pass this along to Yancey as well.
Oh yeah, y'all started laying the plan down. Oh my man! All right, I love it.
Our goal is to have in 4 years to have the land, and hopefully our goal is to have a business. There's contention on what the business is going to be, but we're hoping to make that happen within the next 4 years. And
okay.
What we're going, and we set down our expectations, all the shit that Yancey laid out that we need to do. We more or less did this past weekend. We sat down as a family and talked about what we plan on doing. Now, where this will go in 4 years, because it is a plan to do something later. It is, you know, I don't have the ability to do it now. We need a bit of seed money.
But that's really what he was talking about too, is that some of this stuff is like, you start off with like, okay, we're all going to agree and we're all going to start like stacking cash and putting money away so that we can all pull it together and afford the next step. And then you start building on that next step and you keep working your way up until you can reach a summit of some sort. So there's nothing wrong with that. Any word?
Yeah, Adam just texted me and said that there is a storm, an on and off signal with it. I'm just going to tell him to come in if he can, and if not, that's okay.
Yeah, for sure. But we'd really love to.
Yeah,
really love to have him, because I would really love to hear his perspective on this.
For sure.
It's he's got a unique relationship and perspective with John, where he had conversations with him frequently, and there's a reason why they decided to team up as running mates,
right,
for last year's presidential election. So but that's awesome to hear, and that's one of the things too. Like I have to think, and not to say that, because I don't know enough about John's personal life and everything to know this, but it seemed like he was more he and Janice were more of like rogue on their own. I don't know how big of a network they had that could help support and protect them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so doing something like that where you have a little bit more of a community to depend on, I think is a big help.
One of the things that we're talking about, because my goal is, because I would like to see something similar to a degree to what Adam's got going on in Gardenia, but a little more focused on our needs and what we're going to, we're in Indiana, it's going to be a slightly different idea.
Right.
But we want to offer to the anarchist community that community. One of the things we talked about is we want to do bi-yearly, twice a year festivals and invite anarchists here to just hang out.
Okay, dope.
And we'll put it in the middle of a large swath of land that we own, and we're going to rent property out to people. So everyone on this swath of land will in some way be connected to us. So we don't have people that are like on the border of the land bitching about these silly anarchists. The business we're hoping to have on a corner of the land so that it funnels directly in. And the idea is to begin forming an anarchist community to start when we start renting, who would we want to rent to first? Anarchist. Who do we want to rent? Who do we want to do business with? Anarchist. Who are we going to?
Don't do with anarcho-communists because they think rent is theft.
Right, for sure. But at the end of the day, you get my point.
I know. Yeah,
we want to build that, and and we're better in the United States to build it than the crossroads of the United States. You know, and so
Louisiana, that would be better.
Right, but hey, Louisiana is not that far from Indiana compared to California.
Chaining it once you get
hey, look, for real.
What was that, Nico?
Start chaining it.
Right. And we are, but we laid the groundwork, and that's the kind of thing that that everyone should be doing. You know, and you know, John, why they took him out is because he was dangerous to them. He offered solutions. He pointed people at Bitcoin. He pointed people at living for themselves. He lived on a boat for God knows how long.
Right.
And, you know, and he did not take shit. Yes, John was full of shit sometimes. You know, we got to tell the real truths.
Yeah.
So, you know, to the point
this is true right here. Man is the most domesticated animal. No fucking doubt. Absolutely. Because we will... We'll still bite our fellow humans if we get pissed off enough or whatever. But we know who our owner is,
right?
And we come when the bell rings, you know, and we start drooling. I mean, we've been fucking Pavloved to fucking death, man. That's a very, very appropriate statement
for sure. And they caged us all fucking year. All year they caged our asses. And
well, they caged some people. They didn't fucking cage me, and I know they didn't cage you and Nico as much as they did other people. But no, I was fucking. I was never down with that shit, and tried as hard as I could. And you know, thankfully, like with the boys and with like the and my daughter too, but like with the new house and everything too, like being able to fish. You know, right there, but they were bringing friends over, and they were fishing off the dock in the back and everything. But even before that, like they were running around in the neighborhood and doing shit. Like it was like living in the 80s last summer.
Wow, like
kids running around in the streets and everything because it wasn't the same. In a way, it was kind of cool. I don't want to. I even hate like when people do that, where they're like, you know, one of the good things about this, I'm like, fuck that shit. There's nothing good about this. We made chicken salad out of chicken shit. That's all that's good.
Right.
So
at this point, so that people know, with the story, the official story is in essence that John just whoopsied today and died, and decided to kill himself when he was just happened to be extradited to the United States. And at the moment, pretty much when the Spanish government said, "Oh, you can have him," he just, "Oopsie, oh, that sounds like a good time to kill myself," even though he has said repeatedly he is never going to kill himself, that he is very happy with his life, and so on and so on and so on. So what I want people to hear is that when we say that the government murders people, we're not just talking about war. We're not just talking about that they kill people who might take up arms against them, their particular kind of statism or whatever have you. No, right. They kill in cold blood. They murdered Jeffrey Epstein. They murdered.
You sure Jeffrey Epstein's dead?
No, I'm not.
I don't know that he's dead.
At the end of the day, he was quote unquote murdered.
Right.
Because there's no physical. Let's not go down there.
So this is John McAfee's tweet here. So I'll read it so that for those people who can't see it on the screen, it says this is let me scroll down a little bit. This is from November 30th of 2019. Getting subtle messages from U.S. officials saying, in effect, "We're coming for you, McAfee. We're going to kill yourself. I got a tattoo today just in case. If I suicide myself, I didn't. I was whacked. Check my right arm." And so that's the tattoo that he had on there. $ whacked. I don't endorse the spelling, but he was his own breed,
For sure.
Shout out to McAfee. It's a really, this is one of those things where if you go back and look throughout history of like tribal cultures and everything, whenever there is, and you even see it in like some represented in literature and movies, when you find the people who are like the real renegades, the real rebels, the real outspoken ones, the ones who are potential contagions, where that renegade spirit could spread, those are the people they make an example of. Those are the people they make sure get knocked down first. Because if you make Rick Grimes beg at Negan's feet, the whole rest of the crew kneels.
Correct. And to your point, Chad, that the people need to let that sink in. Mm-hmm. People need to those people that watch the Walking Dead need to understand everything that Negan was in that season. He may change as they continue it on. I don't know, but
you haven't finished it all. Okay, yeah.
No, I have not finished the most recent season. Okay. But because it's not available on Netflix.
Did Ian Miles Chong really fucking do that shit? That piece of shit. He's already selling shirts with the McAfee tattoo. That motherfucker. I hate that dude. God, I can't stand Ian Miles Chong.
I don't think I know who that is.
He's this like weird sort of bleach-haired Asian conservative guy who like is constantly shit posting conservative memes and stuff like that. Exactly. Hotep Darrow grifting season. It's always grifting season though. But anyway, so go on. You were saying, so Negan is the government, right? That's what you were
right. Negan is the government. Everything that Negan did is what the government does. I mean, fucking everything.
Even to the point where this was the subtle part that I don't think people really grasped this. I think people grasped it in terms of the show. They're like, wow, he's got these people so indoctrinated. They all say, "I am Negan."
Yeah.
That's what the fuck all you motherfuckers do with this country. I'm American. Yep. I'm American. Okay. Like, okay. Like, what does it mean to be American? To stand up and worship a thing waving in the air while you sing songs about how great the bankers that fund the wars are. Okay.
I keep telling everybody, like at my dinner table, I'm like, I respect for all the holidays that come up for an honoring of the soldiers. I'm like, I don't respect the army. I don't really care for the holiday, but I respect the people who serve. I'm not going to represent some country that still has a war flag. Like,
Right.
people don't understand, and we're always warring, and it doesn't matter if it's against somebody else or somebody that's in our own state. For crying out loud, our secret services war against each other. Like, what?
Secret police.
You feel me?
Yeah.
That's sick, man.
Yeah. And make no doubt, to that point, Nico, they're not just warring, people overseas. Those alphabet agencies are warring the American people. I don't remember the exact statistic, but put it into your hat that almost, it's not 100%, but it is almost 100% of all terrorist acts the FBI had their fingers on. There was something that they did, whether it was they pushed somebody to shoot somebody, or they gave them the idea, or whatever. There was always an FBI agent involved. There was always somebody pushing to do this or that or the other thing. And there's two ways you can look at that. One, that sucks. One, yes, the American people are the enemy of the government, and we need to start treating the government like our enemy. So, because they certainly treat us like it. They want to throw us in cages. They want to murder people, and they want to steal your shit. So you need to start realizing that. That's the first way to take that. The second way to take that is, without them doing that, we would not have people shooting each other as much. We would not, because people in general are pretty goddamn cool, and they have to be coerced, and they have to be pushed, and they have to be fooled into doing stupid shit.
Yep. Like if you just have, the ample resources like we have on Earth, have that set up in a little ecosystem. That ecosystem is just going to do its thing. And now granted, animals and insects, they will fight each other and eat each other and all this stuff. But generally speaking, when you have like a whole bunch of the same type of animal and there are adequate resources, and you're not like forcing scarcity for an experiment or poking and prodding them and making them think that it's each other that's doing it. Like that's what we get. We get all this like little these little falsified decoy draperies and suspicious skycloths is what I call them. I don't like to use the FF word so we don't get banned off YouTube. But
during the summertime in Chicago, they say it's like a lot of the gangs that are like rivaling, when it's usually like the cops and other services that are spooking and starting things. And we have a hot summer where everybody's busting off. Pause. And it's like it's just like, it's sad. It's real sad. Now don't get me wrong, like I most definitely hear helicopters at night, and a couple of people getting like really, really gunned down, but other than that, like, it's not to what extent. Didn't you say, Marcus, that like Indiana's the number one murder capital now? Or no,
it has been at one time.
More violence.
Yeah, at one time where I actually was. Basis? Yeah, it was funny, and now this has been years ago, but at one time per capita, by county, and I think this might have been in 92, 93, so it's been some years ago, but the number one per capita, and Gary gets this a lot, just to be clear, but the murder rate per capita was Greene County, Indiana. It was the capital, and that's where I went to school. It's where I grew up, and so that's a fact. To back up real quick though, Nico, to something else you said, you were talking about the gangs and stuff. One of the things, because I had a misspent youth, that I had a very good friend who was, let's just say he was a little connected to that whole thing. One of the things that he said to me is, he said, "What's the difference between all these gangs? Why am," in his words, "why am I a bad person because I'm in a gang? The United States government is a gang. What is the difference? How is it different? Yeah. You know what the difference is? The Crips, Bloods, the Vice Lords, the disciples, all those people, they tend to try to help some people on the way too. They try to actually try." Yeah, they actually try to protect their businesses because they have started businesses.
Right.
You know, in the United States ain't trying to protect shit but its own fucking slaves that it has on its plantation. And you know, with all the talk of you know, how popular is this calling them slaves on a plantation? Well, they don't have half of it. We are all slaves on a plantation. Do what you will. Can you go out and smoke a plant that doesn't hurt anybody else? Can you buy anything you choose? Can you, because you can bet your ass Donald Trump can. You can bet your ass Joe Biden can. If Joe Biden wanted to smoke a joint, he can have one today. It is a fact.
Well, no, Kamala Harris and Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, they laughed and joked about it. You know, Clinton's was like, I didn't inhale, and you know, everybody else, it was all this like, yeah, I did, and then they're still throwing people in federal prison for it.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like you.
Yes. Yeah. And the thing is, that's one of the things they throw against John too. You know, the big picture of him with cocaine all over himself. Well, number one, how's it any of your goddamn business what he puts in his body? Let's start there. And have you not seen the pictures of George W. Bush with cocaine? You know, all these people that are at the higher echelons are doing the same shit that they get shitty with us about. And, you know, I'm not someone who does cocaine. I don't endorse it. I don't do it. I don't have anything to do with that. That's my choice because I don't want that kind of addiction possibility in my life. And I've made that choice. But when somebody else makes another choice, that's on them. But at the same time, it is you have one law for you and one law for the king. And that's monarchy, my friends. That's oligarchy. We are not dealing with a free country. You know, for all of those people that think that this country once was free, well, it sure as the fuck is not now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it wasn't free then either for everybody. It was only free for certain people.
Another thing is just like the governance of your body. Like, who allows you to become like who becomes the governor of your body and tells you what you need in your body, opposed to like putting healthy things in your body and things of that nature. But like, it's really getting far past to the point where people are truly just overlooking things that are being shoved to them and told they need to follow along or put this in their system or things of that nature. And it's the lack of awareness that people just seem to have. And I don't know, maybe technology. No, I'll say technology most definitely did fuck up a lot of people's attention spans over the years and things of that nature. But I don't think people realize like that they just don't give a fuck anymore about like really caring about things. Because when you care about something, you'll never really forget about it. But we stop caring about our bodies, and so therefore they tell you, okay, well, you need in your system, and if you don't, you're going to be a big problem. And then all of a sudden it's causing big problems. It's really a very, very what is it, oligarch world we live in,
for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, a lot of people might say, well, you just rail and you're mad and all that kind of stuff. You bet your goddamn ass I'm mad. I am pissed the fuck off. I am mad. They killed someone. Right. I am mad.
What are we supposed to do when they fucking murder somebody?
Right. You know, yes, I'm pissed. I am angry. I want to see justice. I want to see Janice not have to deal with this shit. You know, again, I got to know her a little bit. And what I saw was a beautiful human being who loved her husband and was, and sorry if I get emotional because I see this just really just because this flies in the face of everything that I believe in. What they did today to John McAfee is exactly the opposite of what I believe. They were using force to extort a man. He told them to go fuck themselves, and then they killed him. That's the narrative. That's what they did. And I will oppose that until the day I die. And the reason that I will oppose that till the day I die is because I have 4 beautiful children who I want a better world for. What we're arguing, what people are, these people, these statists need to understand that what they are fighting for, what they are standing up for is murder. What they are standing up for is theft. What they are standing up for is absolute burglary of everyone on the planet. They are arguing for slavery. What we are arguing for and what we are calling for isn't to take up arms. What we are calling for is a peaceful solution that absolutely hands power to the people. We are asking and begging for people to join us in love, to join us in compassion, to join us in the real fight against tyranny. And
joining us right now in that fight is none other than our good friend, presidential candidate from 2020 for the Libertarian Party, running mate of the late John McAfee, Adam Kokesh. It's a tough day today.
Welcome aboard, brother.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, thanks. And I apologize for being late. We had a lightning storm here, and very odd timing for signal to go out, but it does happen.
Yeah.
But then there's so much being thrown at those of us who care enough to follow things that matter right now that it's kind of a confusing time. It's tempting to get paranoid. It was HARP that made the lightning storm, and they cut my signal just now because I was coming on this show to talk about John McAfee not killing himself in a Spanish prison. No, that's a little silly. But there's also another. Have you covered the story of Johnny Hurley today?
We've touched on it, but didn't actually cover it.
Didn't cover it deep.
Well, if I may summarize, then it appears that my friend from We Are Change, Colorado, was involved in a shooting, and the police are covering up what actually happened. We have the shooter dead, a police officer dead, and Johnny Hurley, who the police were calling a good Samaritan for intervening. And what it seems like, at least, it seems like a 2-layer cover-up, where at first they're just covering up information, saying, well, he was a good Samaritan, covering up that it looks like a cop responding to the scene shot him by accident, thinking that he was the active shooter. And, to everybody who was a concealed carry carrier because or open carrier of a firearm, it's a dumb thing you got to be extra aware of. Cops come in guns blazing, they don't care. But Johnny, and he wasn't a John McAfee, wasn't high profile like that,
right?
But there's enough suspicion. I suspect there's another layer of cover up that this is just the obvious one for. And with John McAfee, so we're waiting. There, we do have friends in Colorado, and We Are Change Colorado is pushing for the police to release this information that they've covered up already. And it's like there's no justification. And I get it, in a free society sometimes it'll be justified to protect people, to say we can't release details of a shooting immediately because there's some ongoing security risk. No fucking way with this. Not an excuse. So for cops to not just come out, the Arvada Police Department is having Arvada, Colorado, and not just come out with it. But that's just one other thing that I got going through my head right now when I'm looking at this case with John McAfee, where, holy shit, he was on the record saying, I was whacked. Yeah. If this happens, I did not commit.
Yep.
And then they did it to him anyway. Have they really?
Because again, and we did cover this to a little bit of an extent. We are seeing, as much as I was not a Trump supporter, I am not in any way connected to the Republicans. I don't like the Republicans. It can be made obvious that, he may have done the exact same shit. But at the end of the day, either Biden or the tyrant in heels are worse, in my opinion, than what Trump had under Trump. Do you agree or disagree?
Does it really matter? I mean, I don't know.
I really think that we're seeing a swing back.
I think that's falling for the illusion, but I will give you this, Marcus. As you said that, something occurred to me about the affiliation with the Republican Party with libertarians. And it's because they are the fake opposition party that a lot of well-intentioned people get sucked into supporting Republicans. Absolutely. And even someone like you or me can be tempted by this illusion that there's a meaningful difference. You want to say Trump was better than Clinton would have been? I don't believe it. Government grew under Trump. All the critical metrics of government got worse under Trump. Really, and even if they got better, it's window dressing. It's temporary reprieve. If you consider, and you know this, I'm just reminding you that what I know, that I know about how shit works. It's an illusion of a difference between Republicans and Democrats at the presidential level, and part of that illusion, and this is where I'm going to sort of come to the defense of people who identify as Republicans, or at least a very few of them, that by being the fake opposition party, those who fall for it and don't care enough to examine it will go, well, I'm a Republican because I don't like taxes. Trump grew, government has grown just as much under Republicans as Democrats,
or more.
And then you wonder, well, maybe at the local level, Republicans, the part of the way they get away with this illusion is letting good, honest Republicans have some role in local government, but not beyond that.
No, I agree with you. I just wanted to say that, at least what I'm seeing, you didn't have the FBI come into your house.
So I'll give you this much, Marcus. This is the chart that Spike Cohen shared yesterday, I think. This is the spending on this cops hiring program under Obama in 17, and then you go all the way through. So it's like Obama, it carried over into 17. But anyway, so it's like 137 million, 150, 153, 156, 157, like your normal standard baseline budget growth. And then
if you're trying to use triples. That though, Chad, if you're trying to use that to defend Trump as maintaining the status quo and Biden as an
defending Marcus.
But if you're trying to use that to blame Biden, no, the police state and arrests for cannabis stayed stable under Trump when they should have been coming down. The size of government grew under Trump. Overall police spending grew over Trump. That's one program. Then under the Biden budget, they go, oh, we'll double this one. And it's because they can't hire cops right now. Because nobody wants to be a cop in America. So this little sign of desperation is not even the bigger indicator of overall police spending or the brutality of the police state, which I think is lessening, if anything. And it started with George Floyd. The bigger dynamic here, and Marcus and Chad, I know you guys appreciate stepping back like this, that the bigger dynamic here is George Floyd's death, murder on camera, finally caught up the technology with the paradigm of the police in America, because now they all have this self-consciousness. The technology was there, the law was there, none of that changed. What changed and what's important right now, what we should be celebrating, is separate from politics, is that the technology and the reality of the progression of human events finally got us to the point where every cop on the street is going, I could be recorded at any time. And if it gets out, if I do something really ugly, the government's going to have to throw me under the bus to maintain their credibility.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that's one of the things you talked about, very, very early on in Freedom, is that we have kind of this tug of war, this give and take, kind of this horse race of technology, and the fact that government uses technology against us, but at the same time, technology advances at a rate where we eventually get to a point where we can access and use that technology, use those weapons back against government to hold them accountable or to make them irrelevant or to even fight back if it comes down to it. But I wanted to go into something that Marcus was saying right as you were coming on, talking about this. The way you were talking about this, Marcus, it was almost like we were hearing you were saying they extorted him for money, and then when he didn't give up the money, they killed him. And it brought this idea of like the mugger to mind. And I started thinking, but for as bad as some of that stuff can be, we know that behind every one of those stories, any kind of abusive type of situation, there's always a story where the abuser, there's like a cycle of abuse that goes back. If you go back generations, there's some other abuse, or there's some other things that mugger is coming because that mugger is desperate for one reason or another. And you can, in a way, I'm not saying you can justify it, but at least there's an understanding of like the root cause is somewhere back further that we have to address that's deeper than that. And it comes back to that idea of like freedom versus having this oppression and what that oppression does, where that pneumatic pressure or hydraulic pressure just kind of leaks out in these different places and you have these random acts of violence. The difference between that and government is I can't make the argument unless you want to do the Mr. Robot White Rose. I'm doing this because it's going to save humanity. I'm killing 15% of the people so that we can save the rest, or some bullshit like that. Some like Spock, you have to sacrifice the few to save the many. Like that's the only justification government has for any of this shit. But it's not a real justification. It is ultimately a gang of parasites that are using that as an excuse to extort their hosts and to exploit their hosts.
For sure. So, Adam, I would like to get into your thoughts. One of the things that I covered is that, Janice, I got to talk to Janice a bit while I was working for you. Wonderful woman. And I feel for her. Yeah. And you knew them much better than I did. And one, I want to implore you to share as much as you can our love for her and support for what she's done. But can you touch on just your opinions of the whole situation from the point that they put him in the Spanish prison for tax evasion and all that bullshit, and touch on what from knowing John and how you think that this played out? And I know that's a lot of speculation.
Well, I'm going to answer that in kind of a roundabout way because I was thinking about, my own emotional response to the news today. And, to my friend, Johnny Hurley. Mm-hmm. And, I want to hold a memorial service for John McAfee. I want the world to know that he was one of our soldiers, in the cause of freedom. And I don't think he would want us to cry.
Yeah, good luck.
And I don't think he. Fuck no. John McAfee would not let you cry. And I'm tempted, to see this in militaristic terms right now. Like we're at fucking war.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And when a soldier falls next to you in combat, you don't stop and cry.
You're right. We fight harder. And Adam, couple this with, from my perspective, I've been railing against the LP for at least a year, railing and angry. But you know what? This bullshit that they tried to do to Karen Ann brought me right back in. I want to defend her. I want to stand up with her. So, and right now, watching what's happening in the LP tells me that freedom is coming, and it's coming with a vengeance. And I'm going to do every fucking thing I can to fight to be strong. I told Amber today, I had told her that the chances, other than working for you and your campaign, the chances that I get involved with the LP are slim. I told her that not a week ago. That changed. That changed over this past week. I am doubling down my efforts. I'm going to fight, and I'm going to fight hard. And I'm going to do and I don't care. Obviously my loyalties lie with you, lie with your ambitions. If you decide that you want to run for president again, obviously I'm going to back you. But obviously as well, if we can get Dave Smith in there, if we can get Spike in there, if we can get obtain million other fucking people that are rising, that are libertarians, that are real libertarians, into a position of power where they can take that mic and they can absolutely preach, I will do everything in my power to amplify their voice.
I'm scared. The FBI was here a week ago, ostensibly to confiscate Ed Vallejo's cell phone with a warrant,
right?
Because he was at the January 6th event in DC, and I don't believe it. They drove all the way out here to Gardenia from the FBI field office in Phoenix to visit me down my 3 miles of private dirt road and trespass on my neighbor's property, to trespass on my property, to approach my fence next to my back gate, to ask me. They actually held up a picture. There was a meme of a guy who looked kind of like I used to look, with a Trump is my president t-shirt. And I'm like, they asked me if that was me, and I'm like, I didn't even answer the question. I said, were you there on January 6th? I just said, I am not now, nor have I ever been a Donald Trump supporter. That's in the video we've already released.
Right.
But I want to
no
think
one is
about
my
this.
president, motherfucker. What are you talking about?
I want to think about this, as, that point of conflict that is illuminated by military analogies, despite our commitment to nonviolence, and that this is an evolution more than a revolution even. But we are in a point where they are coming for us, and I'm scared. I've been jailed for activism. I don't think I have near the profile John McAfee, but a lot more than Johnny Hurley.
Yeah.
And I just put out a statement, I will never commit suicide in custody. My commitment to y'all, I will never. Now I got to say this every time, every day publicly, just reaffirm, just in case, I will not commit suicide in custody. And John McAfee said that before. No fucking way. He loved being alive. He would have loved dying in jail of old age to have taken this fight to his dying breath against the government in the United States. Y'all know that. No fucking way anybody can look at the man John McAfee was and come to any other conclusion than that. No fucking way. And what would he want us to do?
Fight.
I mean, to memorialize him for the sake of reminding the people of the world that he was one of our soldiers, that he fell fighting the state, that he did not commit suicide. Yeah. But there's more, and I think if I'm scared, they got to be a lot more scared than we are right now.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's exactly what we were talking about. They take those high level renegades out so that they get everybody else to cower away.
They're trying.
This is the death spasm of a desperate system. Absolutely. On its way out, coming after activists because they can't convince the working man to make war anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Not in the age of the internet.
Nope.
Fuck you. You can't even get away with the kind of police brutality that you used to use to keep people in line in the drug war. Sorry. You're gonna arrest people for pot? You're gonna do stop and frisk and shall ID? No.
Yeah.
Not in the age of the internet.
Yeah.
And I wanna remind people that while these, military analogies, may be helpful in understanding our position towards government. The quote from John Lennon I have right here on the desktop of my computer. You know what I'm talking about.
I do.
John Lennon said, "When it gets down to having to use violence, then you are playing the system's game. The establishment will irritate you, pull your beard, flick your face to make you fight, because once they've got you violent, then they know how to handle you. The only thing they don't know how to handle is nonviolence and humor."
Yeah.
So never forget that those are the terms of the war we are fighting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're absolutely right. And, one of the things that we have prided ourselves with this podcast is we have people like yourself that come on here that offer solutions, that offer ways around this beast, this murderer. And, these kinds of, that's okay. These kinds of, there's the quote that Adam just put up. There's the
quote, yeah.
So these beasts think that they can get us down. They can't.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't going to have Adam on until next month. I still want you on next month, by the way.
Yeah. Can you still come back again?
But we weren't going to have Adam on tonight. We were going to talk about spirituality tonight. That's what we were going to do.
Spirituality, Marcus's anniversary today, and Nico's birthday, and Father's Day, and all that stuff. And fuck, man, that's what, I was saying before. Like Janice is never going to be able to celebrate an anniversary with John again. That's
it's awful.
It's fucked up.
But what they have created in John is a martyr. That's what they've created.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Adam won't be the first person. He will not be the only person who takes these banners and runs with it. We will pick up the weapons of John. And those weapons, back to Adam's point, were love, compassion, and freedom. Mm-hmm. And we will fight, and we will fight together.
Mm-hmm.
All this bullshit of division between one group of libertarians or one group of anarchists and another needs to end. It needs to stop. If you are fighting for freedom, you are my ally. I do not give a fuck what economic system you like. I do not care what colors you put on a stupid black flag. I don't care. If you are fighting for freedom, you are my ally. If you are offering solutions that do not involve the state, you are my ally, as long as you do not employ violence. And that is all it takes. Fight for freedom. Don't use violence. You are my ally. And we are going to lock arms and move forward. And they will not stop us. It may take 10 years. It may take 5 years. It may take 20 years. But notice I'm not saying hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
It is coming, and it is coming quickly. And you can see it every single day.
It's the asymptote, right, Adam?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Adam, do you have any funny stories of John that you could share with us?
I just want to share a story that he told that played over and over again in my head. I mean, I can think of all the little fun times we had, running around events and shit like that. But when he introduced himself, when he was running for the LP nomination in 2016, he told the story at a debate about getting busted, walking down the street, smoking a joint, and getting released with a citation and a court date like an hour later, and going back and walking down the same street, smoking a joint, getting arrested again, and then getting released again. And he kept doing it until they didn't arrest him.
Until they burned it all the way down. Oh no, he didn't.
and what I realized, like I had like people look at me for my civil disobedience history and go, you know, that's a gutsy dude, and I go, because I see this line, I see the line that is like, you can't smoke here, you can't dance there, and I step over the line, and I like creep up to the line and go, ooh, I stepped over. Did you get that on video? You know, and John McAfee didn't even see the lines. You know, and I was like, when I heard that, I was like, fuck, I want to be John McAfee when I grow up.
Right. Yeah. John like whips out his dick and pisses on the line, like, fuck your line.
No, not even. No, that's reactionary. He just ignored
it, pretended like it wasn't even there. Yeah, okay, like, I got you.
And then
that's a beautiful distinction that you drew.
Yeah, and then if someone stops him later and goes, hey man, you crossed our line over there. Oh, fuck your line. Oh yeah, he made it clear. But until you pointed it out, man, that line just wasn't even there for him. Like that's what made him special. He was really in a different category that way, even among libertarians, you know. And aside from that, and being the G.
Oh shit!
No.
Damn the lightning!
Yeah, I know. They cut him off, but
shit.
But hey, you know,
hopefully he'll come back in. I don't know. We'll see.
And you know, Adam likes to, you know, and the thing is, Adam likes to say that he just walks up to the line. I've been there.
No,
that dude's walking around not seeing lines an awful lot. I see more lines than Adam does, and maybe John saw less lines than Adam did, but it ain't that many.
Yeah, you know? when he got arrested in New Orleans when we were doing the book bomb, it was funny because like I hadn't gotten there yet because I mean I live in Baton Rouge, but like I had stuff because I was going to be close by. I was still taking care of stuff. You know, other people who live far away, once they left, they were gone. You know, and they were like in New Orleans, and that was it. So I had the ability to go back and forth, and so I hadn't gotten down there that day yet. And we're watching the stuff on the stream. He goes live on I think it was on Periscope or on Twitter, and that's when they're doing the thing. Well, they were doing the stenciling. So for people who don't know, there's this really cool technique that you can do to basically do like guerrilla marketing. And what you do is you take a stencil that has the words stenciled out of it, and you put it up against concrete on a sidewalk, on a street, or in this case, it was on a concrete barricade. And we were stenciling. You take that stencil and you get a pressure washer, and you basically hose off with high pressure water the dirt that's on the concrete. So you're not actually doing any kind of graffiti. You're just cleaning, selectively cleaning. So it's not like vandalism. You're actually helping to clean up. They still don't like it, but Adam wasn't even like, it was just like, we're going to do this thing. And they were on the interstate in traffic. And while they're pulled over, they just got out and they're like, let's put one right here. We were just basically stenciling the word freedom. You can see it. If you go to my Twitter bio, one of our stencils that Elijah Gizzarelli and I did is on my banner on my Twitter account. It's just it was a beautiful spot to do it. The color is great, and it's like this broken piece of concrete, and it just has freedom stamped across it. That's what we were doing. And so as we're doing that stuff, hopefully I'm going to move everything around in case he does actually successfully execute getting in. While we're doing that stuff, the cops, somebody said something, and I don't know, the cops pulled up and they start interrogating them, asking them what they're doing and all this bullshit. And I think they were going to let him go or something, but Adam had like a card that said like, it was like, I don't have to answer your questions, or I don't have to show you ID and all this kind of stuff. And they were like, okay, so you're like ready for this. Anyway, they just got all pissed off about it. And that's where they chose to arrest him. But it was funny. Like as the whole situation's going down, they were just like sitting in traffic. They're like, well, fuck, while we're here, let's get out and stencil some on this concrete barrier wall. Right. And they weren't even thinking about like, should we do this? Are we going to get in trouble if we do this? Let's all stop traffic. Where, you know, they didn't care. And they went ahead and did it. And they weren't disrupting anything. They were just making the pretty word freedom show up on that barrier wall. And anyway, cop's gonna cop.
Sure. Yeah. And to a degree, let's talk a little bit about how we can each walk over those lines as well. You know, at the end of the day, you know, when I went in to get my hair cut at the place, Great Clips or some place like that, and they told me I had to wear a mask like a slave, I told them to go fuck themselves and walked out. But most of the time, and more often than not times, you know, I'd go into the local store, I'd walk in, I did not even hesitate. I just walked right in, no masks, no bullshit, no whatever.
Right.
So I didn't see those lines either to a degree. Adam Kokesh, I'm not yet. I haven't enlightened myself to that position as yet. I'm getting there, and I get there every day because Adam's right. John was one of our soldiers, and this really pisses me off. But, you know, we each, in this past year, everyone ignored lines. Lots and lots of people not wearing masks. Lots and lots of people not complying. Lots and lots of people getting together when they said not to. People that might even agree with having masks. I watched it. I went to a hippie-ish thing that they had here at a friend of ours. They have a camp out. It's not the one that I used to go to, but another group of friends that are very leftist. And I watched a whole bunch of people that were all about face masks and got to stick 6 feet apart till you throw them out in a campsite. And then they're like, here, pass this, you know. And
bro, I had a dude I work with. I had this cup sitting there. He's eating and everything. And like we had switched places because like he was, anyway, it's like a desk. And like I was sitting on one side, he was sitting on the other side. And so he's sitting, I had gotten up, but I left my cup and I'm sitting at the computer and I was like, oh shit, my cup. And I got up, I went over there and he's sitting there eating. And he goes, and he's like, he's one of these like mask the whole time, every time we're together and everything. And then he made sure he bragged about, I got my shots, I'm inoculated or whatever, some bullshit. And I was like, oh, whatever, dude, cool. Anyway, so I walk over while he's like slobbering all over his food and everything. I don't know what's on his hands. He just goes, oh, picks up my cup like this, holding on to the mouth part of my cup and hands it to me like this. And I'm like,
right.
All right, so if I don't put a mask on, we're going to kill each other. But you can put your hands all over the mouth part. And I'm like, I used to think I was a hypochondriac until all this shit happened. Because like I don't touch stuff in bathrooms and everything. And I realized I'm not worried about getting sick. I've never been worried about getting sick. It's just disgusting. Like I don't want your chewed up, half-eaten food on my fucking in my mouth. I don't want shit particles on my hands when I go back and start eating popcorn at the movies.
For sure.
I don't want to touch the door in the bathroom. Not because I'm scared of germs. I think it's fucking gross. That's all.
Right?
I don't, I'm not trying to lick somebody's asshole in the bathroom. So, pause. Anyway, anyway. So I don't want that those shit particles that come from the door handles and the faucet handles and all that shit. I love the ones where the door opens to the outside when you walk in. I mean, when you walk out, so that like you grab the handle when you go in, take your piss, wash your hands, and now your hands are clean. Walk out, kick the door open, keep on going. I hate to have to fucking grab the handle, so I'm always grabbing the handle with a fucking paper towel and throwing it there. But anyway, but yeah, it is funny how you have all these people who are like, they're wearing a mask everywhere. They're all scared of everything, but then they're fucking double dipping at a party, huh?
They're so forgetful over it. Like, the whole rage for sanitizer. Like, why haven't we ran out of sanitizer recently? There's a chicken shortage though somehow, but it's crazy. Yeah. My neighbor
and toilet paper shortage,
and she says they plop out like 6 to 7 eggs a day. I don't know how there could be a shortage if those little guys are working. Where's the logic?
Right. There ain't none.
The first casualty of the stupid 19 was logic.
Right, for sure.
It was prior to that. It was much prior to that.
No, you're definitely right. Like you go back to all of the things that we read in our history books about how wars were started and things like that. They it wasn't that they defied logic. Actually, if you go, they just pulled shit out of the books so so that you didn't know about
right.
it.
You know, they just, you know, ripped out certain pages. I mean, majority pages, I mean, and then they just recreated it. I mean, the logic's there if you go look, but who's really going to go look?
Right.
Speaking of which, I have to mention there's a new book out, The Patriot Report, by the one and only Hotep Jesus.
Nice.
It's very good. I just started it. I'm not all the way done with it. It's like 225 pages. It's only $14, and it's basically
I'm gonna have to get that.
It's pretty. It's some I don't know, some, what do you call it? Like what the fuck? I don't know, not renegade history, because that's fucking Thaddeus Russell's book, but it's some outlaw history, you know, like it's some shit that you're not supposed to know about, not supposed to read. Yeah. So anyway, it's a good read so far. And our boy Yin, y'all don't know Yin. We know him from the Mogul Summit. He wrote us one of the fictional stories that kind of kicks it off, that kind of lays like a storytelling narrative backdrop behind how the story's going to go. It's really good. So anyway,
I'm gonna check it out.
Yep.
So I want to while we've talked an awful lot about the nuts crap that happened today, you know, and all the, and John Hurley and all that. I do want to mention that we are already doing the stuff that conquers the state, that destroys it, that takes it out, that overcomes the state. We're already doing it. You know, when I've raised 4 kids, I got mushrooms for Father's Day. Put that in. I got mushrooms. My kids are so cool. I
grilled mushrooms for Father's Day. They were portobellos.
Yeah. These wouldn't have tasted very good, and might have made you feel funny.
Very funny for a while. Very, very funny.
Right. So you know, we're doing the things. You know, I sat down with my wonderful, amazing family this past weekend, and we laughed, we cried a bit, talked about things, and it's those kinds of community. Yeah, right. Greatest kids ever. I'm telling you, my kids are cool, but they're anarchists.
Yeah.
My kids are anarchists, and they know me.
Right.
But you know, we in that 2-day conversation that my wife, myself, and my kids had, you know, we designed a solution. It may or may not work out, but we designed a solution. We found ways to not have the state infringing in our lives. We came up with ideas about how to cooperate, about how to do things. That's not, my family's not the only family doing that. And sure, Chad's family are more into basketball than hallucinogenics.
The only one that's not into basketball is my daughter, but my boys are like, they're all about it. My son texted me today. He's like, I just shot 200 shots. And I was like, that's awesome. You just got to do it every day. And then he comes back later. He's like, I just shot 150 more. I'm like, all right, that's my 12-year-old. So he's like, they're all about it.
He's gonna have a burner like Luka once he goes to the Euro League.
Right.
I don't know. He's not gonna be as big as Luka. I don't think he's a little bitty old dude, but he's a late bloomer too, though. Like he's I don't know. I'm gonna see like when he starts having his first big growth spurt in this, you know, prepubescent into puberty area. I want to see where it goes, because he's very, very late blooming.
It's okay.
Mushrooms. All I got was a coffee mug. Shit, man. Sometimes it's like that.
But you know, kind of my point is that, you know, we're building that. And it's not just us. You know, if let's say, and then Nico, this is real. I am telling you this right now. 4 years from now, when we start to enact, and it is 4 years from now, roughly, when we start enacting this plan, if Nico wants to add his name to that list, you let me know.
Right.
Because you're not that far. And we will work it out, and we'll figure it out because you are my brother, and you would be welcome in our community, obviously. And yeah, for sure. And, but these are the kinds of ideas, and this is just one. This is just one idea. This is Hotep and Build. That, and what, thousands of people all over this country are going to be employing themselves. And John's passing, no matter what comes of that, no matter what, we're emboldened. We're going to be strengthened by him. We are going to learn to be ungovernable. We are going to learn to resist. There were people that this did it. They're now anarchists. They happen today. And they are going to fight along with us. Sure, they've got shit to learn. Give them as much that you can to teach.
I've still got shit to learn. I'm not even fucking bullshitting. I got shit to learn. That's why I'm reading Brian's book. That's why I'm going to read the Anarchist Handbook by Michael Malice too. And I'm going to give some other things like another read. I actually started listening to the Gulag Archipelago this week too. I want to go through that by Alexander Solzhenitsyn, however the fuck you say that. Anyway, it's a mouthful. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff that we can learn from some of those experiences, because there's some little red flags that we should be seeing right now, that some folks who've been through stuff already have been trying to tell us for a while, like, hey, watch out, this shit's coming this way. So it's Dame, you're right. It's Marcus is a real motherfucker, man. There's no fucking bullshit with Marcus. I love it. That's this whole little trio that we have here. That's kind of, I think if there's one thread that holds us all together, it's that none of us is bullshitting. Like we're just fucking laying it out there. I've said some shit that I'm like scared that somebody's gonna see, so I like don't tell like certain family members or friends about this show, because I don't want them to know, because I don't want it to get back to anybody. But I don't hold back, man. I don't fucking hold back, and Marcus doesn't either. And Nico's got his. What's that, Nico?
I'm kind of that way too, but as of lately, I've been like, you know what? Fuck it. Because look, at the end of the day, they can't tell me shit. If you look at our discography and all the people, and they actually sat down and watched those interviews, they'd look at me and be like, oh wow. So therefore, I'm like, you know what? Kiss my black ass. Because I have a disagreeable rhetoric doesn't mean that I don't have great people on this show who are out here willing and helping out other communities and trying to expand a better society. Like, I think about it, it's like, shit, I just fucking scratched that open. But at the end of the day, it's me like too. It's like we out here doing great things.
Right.
Fuck y'all.
Yeah. Well, and so like even with, so in this last year and a half or however long it's been, 14 months or so, 15 months, when all the lockdowns started and when all the different hoopla over the thing started, I'm not gonna lie, like as we were going through all that stuff, I felt a sense of like trepidation, because like an impending guilt that like somehow some of the things that I was saying would be perceived as like discompassionate or unfriendly or I don't know, not caring about people or something like that. And it's not that. Like this, my objection to the measures and the policies that were put out, and the propaganda was more a gripe with the propagandists and the authoritarians who were doing it, and what they were doing to people to turn people into authoritarian apologists, because it seemed very similar. And I know there's been a lot of people don't like to hear comparisons to slavery or to the Holocaust or anything like that. And I get it. Like those were very horrible things, and it can't even be remotely compared to wearing a mask or even getting a shot in your arm. But it's, if you go back and look at all of those things, now I don't know, I haven't done like a whole bunch of digging into like how the whole like slave trade happened and what the first little domino that fell was, but it's not like one day everybody's free and one day somebody's like, hey, you know what? Fuck half these people. Let's make them all work for me and I'll build a bunch of shit. No, there were some little baby steps that all of these things had to go through to get to where they got. And that's what we've been seeing this last year and a half has been some of those baby steps being taken. And it's basically like what I have equated it to is, look, there's sometimes when a mommy and a daddy love each other and they lie close together, and you know, you kind of put your hands in places and you see if that's okay, and then okay, that's okay, and then you move your hand a little bit more, oh, that's okay, and then you move your hand a little bit more, and that's okay. That's kind of what this was. They were feeling us up this whole last year and a half, and they were seeing whether they could get our bra off or whether they could get their hand down our pants or whatever, because this was those little, you know, baby encroachments on liberty to see what people would tolerate and when they would push back. And when they push back, you know, they push back and be like, all right, let me see if she's for real. Let me try again. Oh, she didn't push back that time. Okay. You know, and then they keep going. Right. It's that same, it's not different. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing.
Fucked at the end,
and we're all getting fucked. Exactly. That's what I was going to say. And next thing you know, Bill Gates is in the car, and fucking George Soros and Klaus Schwab is in the car, and get the fuck out of here. Anyway, it's and there are people who are just like, oh yeah, okay, bring it, come on, and right. I'm not one of them people. Yeah. I had to have my Marcus moment there for sure. You just go too far sometimes with the sexual metaphors. I had to do it. Right. That's where my gripe was. But I'm not gonna lie, I did feel like I was treading very carefully because I was trying not to be insensitive to people, because I know there have been people who they've lost friends and family in this last 18 months. And it's not to downplay that. It's to say that like the stuff that was going on, that the cure that they came up with was worse than what they were trying to cure, because they've set us back decades and they have made people really, really docile and compliant and very well-mannered in accepting all kinds of bullshit.
So I'm curious. Have either one of you seen the series Firefly and the movie Serenity?
I started to watch. Yeah, I started to watch Firefly, and I think I saw Serenity, and I was like, this seems like it would be better if I had seen Firefly.
Correct. But at the end of the day, what happened in the Firefly world, if you will, there's this group of people called Reavers that throughout the entire series, they are just crazy people who tear shit up and do all that kind of craziness.
Right.
In Serenity, what happened, to explain where the Reavers came from, there was a planet that they basically locked down, and they sprayed them from the skies with a chemical that made them sedate, that made them obedient. And what happened in that planet was there were outliers. There were people that didn't work on. And what wound up happening is the people that the powers that be, or the central government, and in my opinion is why that series was canceled, was because it was outright anti-authoritarian. Wouldn't necessarily call it libertarian, but it was close, and it was definitely anti-central government. And so what happened was the people that were obedient wound up just going to sleep. They wound up dying asleep because they were so obedient and so enslaved that they weren't going to do anything. The people that didn't became the Reavers. The reaction was that shit went crazy. And I think that we can learn from that. And one, don't take the goddamn medicine. Do not take anything you don't know what it is. Do not put things into your body that you have. And this is coming from somebody that I am more than willing to put some mushrooms in my body. But I choose to do that. That's
reliably sourced mushrooms.
Correct. And right, my kids. so at the end of the day, we need to be ready to fight. One of the things that they caught me with all this craziness that is going on in the world right now, and the death of John McAfee is, for me, a kind of a capping stone, is that I'm also reading an interesting book right now. These guys know that my hero is Thomas Paine. He's been my hero for a very, very long time. I'm reading a book that is actually from a leftist perspective. They're much more of a left-leaning anti-authoritarian. And the book is about how Thomas Paine turned the American people into rebellion. And how he did it. So I'm going to study that book, and I'm going to study that book thoroughly. And I'm going to find out and learn from the lessons that Thomas Paine gave us. And I'm going to employ those. We just had Adam on, who is, again, one of my best friends. Love the dude. He's a great human being. And I'm likely to help him out along the way down the road. So I'm going to suggest things that Thomas Paine taught me.
Yeah.
And so I think it's an interesting time that we're living in right now.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
They say that it is a Chinese curse that you live in interesting times. And that's absolutely true. But better in my day than my children's.
Yeah. I always prefer those uneventful flights to the ones where there's turbulence and like you feel like you're gonna have to use the barf bag, or like you're not sure if the wing's gonna come off or some shit like that. But like I will say this, and Adam has talked about this. It didn't take the majority to pull off the American Revolution.
Correct.
And
3%.
all the shit behind the American Revolution notwithstanding, there's some stuff where it was like like even like the pioneering spirit of the people who kept running farther. Who was that we were talking to? Kept saying that. Was it you that was saying that? No, wait. So
no, it was Magnus.
No, it was Magnus. It was Magnus. Yeah, that they were running. They kept trying to get away from the government. The government kept following them all the way across the country into California and everything. Well, the people who stirred that stuff up, because if you think about it, like the overwhelming majority of the people, let's just be real, fucking lazy, like brain dead motherfuckers. Okay.
Correct.
They will, if we somehow are able to like reach critical mass where we can reach enough people, they'll believe the shit that we're telling them. We'll just be good propagandists who are not trying to fucking destroy everybody. We're trying to actually set people free.
Right.
So like you only have to have that, like, I don't know if it's like 1%, 5%, 10%, what the number is of people who have to like understand and kind of be vibing with each other enough to say, look, enough of this bullshit. We're all pushing back. Because the reality of the matter is, when you look at the numbers, the people, even just like the real ones, the people who know what the fuck's going on and who aren't fucking with it and who are armed up and ready to go, if we all could just fucking get on the same page, none of these people could fuck with us.
Nope. It's Bug's life.
Instead, exactly, it is. It's Bug's life. But we're fucking bickering with each other over this stuff. And I hope you were kind of getting into this, but you didn't completely get there. I think when Adam was on, but I hope that people see this, what happened to John McAfee today, and can say, look, the people who killed John McAfee are the enemy. Let's drop the shit with each other and let's focus on that enemy, because that enemy actually kills us.
Yep.
The liberty activists.
Yep.
That they kill us. Why the fuck are we fighting with each other?
Right.
And not fighting with them? We have all this smoke for each other, and I say what you want to say about the LP New Hampshire Twitter account and everything, and I know we had our it was inartful messaging, at best. It could have been said differently. It could have been said better. It pales in comparison to the murder and to the destruction that the state did to us the last 18 months that the LP was basically silent on.
Correct.
The LP didn't say shit. In fact, the former chair, well, actually, he was the chair at the time. He wasn't even the former chair yet. Was all in with the masks and the lockdowns and everything else. I don't know. COINTELPRO, who's COINTELPRO? I mean, I need more context. Yeah, I know COINTELPRO exists. I don't know what, but yeah, we have. There's some of that in the LP, I think. Yep. we've encountered it. I won't say her name, but her initials are. No, I almost said. I do this thing where I say I'm not going to say the name, but the initials are, and then I say the name. But I wasn't going to do that one because I'm not trying. I'm not trying to get. But Afo, you know who it is. Anyway, we had a saboteur in the ranks, and it happens. I mean, it's that if you look at the biggest threats, I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Like I in a way, I'm kind of like, all right, yeah, good game. I kind of expected that. I respect your hustle. but I got my head on a swivel. The only problem with it is the thing that really sucks about it, and this is one of the objectives of COINTELPRO is. My head is so much on a swivel that I fucking suspect everybody. Like, I know Nico's a Fed.
Oh, yeah. No, I automatically think that my neighbors are Feds all the time. All the time. But I'm like, no, I can't think that. But he did this, that, and that. Right. Never mind. Let me not.
You have like the angel and the devil on your shoulder. One of them's like, nah, come on, man. You just love them. They're good people. It's okay. And then the devil on your shoulder is like, but don't ever close your eyes.
Exactly.
But don't ever close your eyes.
Right. Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that. Keep yourself vigilant. One of the things that I tweeted today is absolutely true. That, right now, I think the LP
Marcus just said, one of the things I tweeted today is absolutely true.
Right. For sure. Me. Truth. but one of the things that I said was that the LP is weeding out a lot of the agents, whether they're paid agents or just working on the behalf of the government and don't realize it. One way or the other, there's a shit ton of them, and we're seeing a lot of them leave. The at least leadership positions, we're seeing a lot of that. But do not lose your vigilance because they will not get rid of them all. That is only one way that they infiltrate and disrupt. And the other one that I think we need to focus on is look for the ones who are pushing for violence, who are advocating for aggression.
I totally agreed with. I will co-sign your absolute truth of the tweet that you put out. But I was a little distracted because Uncle Hotep retweeted one of Dame's tweets just now. It's pretty fucking hilarious. He says, I really think if I dried myself out from weed and did some shrooms. Oh no, he said, I really think I dried myself out from weed and did some shrooms so I could be a better shit poster.
Absolutely.
For sure. Shout out to Dame.
Sure.
Oh shit, man. That's fucking good stuff.
Dude. So I do think that we should start wrapping up, and I know that Adam fell out, and I'll thank him.
That was great to have him on. And I understand the emotion. Like it's I didn't know John McAfee. I never got to meet him, never got to talk to him or anything like that. And I know you had like a more of like a passing acquaintance with him and everything. But Adam, he and Adam were tight. Yeah. He and Adam were tight, and that's not. I mean, that's why you were getting emotional.
Want him to have time to grieve because he was most definitely taking it tough. So I really going to you, Adam, even though you weren't here. If you come back and watch this, untimely deaths, and it's not untimely when it's murder. Like murder should never happen.
Yeah,
it's a tough loss for the freedom movement, but it doesn't stop the conscious thought of always striving to be better and freer every day.
For sure, brother. I'm with you. You know, one of the things that is beautiful about what frankly we've built here, and also what we're experiencing, is how Adam came on today. Chad and I were having a conversation. I was like, well, fuck, I thought about asking Adam on. And Chad said, well, shit, so was I. And I was like, well, fuck, let's make that happen.
Yeah, exactly. My thought was like, I kind of want to ask him, but I kind of feel like it's dirty because it's like so late notice and it's so raw. But like, maybe you can ask him, Marcus.
Right.
So, I didn't feel right doing it, but you talk to him more often than I do. You're on with him like almost every day. So,
yeah. And the thing is, you know, again, Adam's another one of those people that people like to throw shit at. Name me somebody that's done more shit. Don't give me I'm better than Adam Kokesh and I'm going to sit on my couch and tweet all day. Go fuck yourself. Right. Adam put his ass on the line for the freedom movement and does it every goddamn day. He could stop doing shit today and I would still not have done and I guarantee by the end of my life, I am pretty certain that I will not have done as much for freedom as Adam Kokesh.
No, it's like he's like the for at least for me, trying to catch up with him would be like me trying to catch up and read all of Rothbard.
Right.
It's just I don't have enough time left to do it. I can't possibly
our energy.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to as we wrap up, I want to kind of bring back, because I think it's important to do this, to bookend this show with our quote. But I want to before I do that, I want to read this because I played this song at the beginning of the show, but I want to kind of bring the lyrics home, because sometimes when you're listening to the song, it's hard to clearly or completely let the words sink in. This is Renegade by Styx. Now, don't hate on me for loving a fucking 80s hair band or whatever, but I love Styx. Oh, mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the law. Lawman has put an end to my running, and I'm so far from my home. Oh, mama, I can hear you a-crying. You're so scared and all alone. Shout out to Janice. Hangman is coming down from the gallows, and I don't have very long. The jig is up. The news is out. They finally found me. The renegade who had it made, retrieved for a bounty. Never more to go astray. This will be the end today of the wanted man. So, R.I.P. John McAfee.
For sure.
Heavy day.
One of the good ones.
Mm-hmm. But just remember, as Marcus says, to stay free. I'm going to read our quote one more time. So these villains, this is Lysander Spooner for our listening audience. So these villains who call themselves governments well understand that their power rests primarily upon money. With money, they can hire soldiers, and with soldiers, extort money. And when their authority is denied, the first use they always make of money is to hire soldiers to kill or subdue all who will refuse them more money. Peace, everybody.